It's April here in New York, and after a long and gloomy winter, I look forward to color and warmer days. I don't need an alarm clock anymore. The birds outside my window wake me up bright and early. My morning commute to work is becoming a bit more pleasant. The trees are starting to show signs of life, and before long, the grand flower show will begin. The first timid signs of spring begin with few bulbs popping up here and there. Snowdrops are the first to break through sometimes still snow-covered ground. Soon after, grape hyacinths, with their intense sky blue color, brighten up our gardens, and the first of bees come out for a drink of nectar. But it's not until the daffodils make their appearance that it truly feels like the spring is here. I come to New York Botanical Garden many times through the year. It's almost a reference library for me. Whenever planning a new garden, I come here to look at the old and new plant combinations, plant layouts, or just soak up the richness of being in a mature garden. It never gets old. On this cool day, daffodils were at their perfection. With deep blue sky as a background and blossoms of Yashina cherry trees, it was a picture-perfect display. Seasonal Walk, as it's called, was designed by Dutch designer Piet Oudolf, and through the foliage of the daffodils you can already see perennials pushing through, impatient after a long winter. Botanical gardens have room and budgets to put together fantastic displays. Daffodils now come in a dazzling array of colors and shapes. If your childhood memories of daffodils are only of bright yellow flowers, you're in for a pleasant surprise. But the more traditional yellow ones do not disappoint. The corona, the elongated cup-shaped part in the center of the flower, comes in many shapes and sizes, as well as colors, giving them a two-tone appearance. Magnolias are the first trees to flower in spring. The show begins with white flowering star magnolia. It's more of a shrub than a tree, and it takes a long time and some pruning through the years to shape it into a small tree. It's first to burst into color after the dull winter days, and it's definitely welcome. Saucer magnolia is the true star of the early season here in New York. Their colors range from almost white to deep and rich pinks and plum purples. lot of hybridizing work has been done on magnolias, and new types are coming out all the time. I see yellow flowering magnolias popping up here and there. Not my particularly favorite color, but I'm sure it brightens up someone else's day. One notable hybrid is Magnolia labnerii. It's a cross between Magnolia cobus and Magnolia stellata. It has lovely star-shaped flowers that range from pale pink to white, depending on the variety. But the one group of trees that brings the adoring fans out in groves, of course, is the flowering cherry tree. The bare branches are covered with flowers that open up pink, and as they mature, the color fades to white. The Yoshino cherry is one of the most loved flowering trees in Japan. It is this very tree that is responsible for the bright floral display in Japan and in Washington, D.C. in spring. Another lovely type of the flowering cherry is the weeping form. It's one of the most graceful plants and has been in cultivation in Japan for many centuries. Its graceful weeping branches are long and seem to be reaching for the ground. There are several cultivars in production, and this compact tree is a terrific focal point in any garden. As I walk through the garden, a lovely display of blue and white camassia bulbs mingle perfectly with yellow flowers of the buttercup. Sometimes it's the unplanned accidents in the garden that produce the best results. We had a couple of warm days in early April, and lilacs were just about ready to burst open by middle of the month. This April's weather turned out to be very unpredictable. There were practically no April showers to speak of. Third week of the month produced August-like sweltering temperatures in the 90s. That's around 32 degrees Celsius. And a week later, night temperatures dipped into 39. That's close to 4 degrees. In all this temperature confusion, some trees flowered late, others were several weeks behind. How often do you get to see forsythia in full bloom with lilacs, cherries, and magnolias? Japanese maples got an early start this year. Their acid green new foliage was practically glowing against fresh new green grass. The Bronx River lazily meanders through the botanical garden. It's home to all sorts of water birds and fish. It cuts through the last remaining uncut wooded landscape that used to cover this area before New York was ever built. It's hard to believe that you're in the middle of the city. Deep inside the forest, the sound of the city recedes and you're transported back in time, hundreds of years. By middle of April, the delicate flowers of Yoshino trees turn to beautiful pink snow, drifting in the wind. As the flowers start to shed their petals, the trees become a canopy of delicate shades of pink, which gracefully cover the sidewalks, creating a stunning natural carpet. The practice of Hanami is centuries old. It means flower viewing. All across Japan, it is customary to hold parties under the cherry blossoms. The festival is meant to enjoy the transient beauty of the flowers. I've been keeping an eye on the progress of the cherry blossoms here in New York by checking on the website of the New York Botanical Garden and Brooklyn Botanic Garden. The websites update daily to show at what stage the cherry blossoms are in on a particular day. I come to Brooklyn, one of the boroughs of New York City, for the grand finale of the Cherry Blossom Festival. Kwanzan Cherry is the undisputed champion of the Cherry Flower Festival. Its branches are smothered in large pink blossoms. Planting in mass arrangement, they form a stunning display. Here at the Brooklyn Museum of Fine Arts, the Kwanzan cherries were planted in a modern arrangement, and they look great. Directly behind the museum is Brooklyn Botanic Garden. It's a place that's very dear to me. I have very happy memories of doing my internship there, fresh out of horticulture school, and staying on to join the gardening team. It was a privilege and an experience that gave me the creative boost that still nourishes my creativity and love for plants today, some 30 plus years later. Perhaps one of the best kept gardening secrets of New York is the Japanese garden at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And what better place to continue the story of the cherry blossom season than right here? As you walk along the winding path of the Hill and Pond Garden, spectacular views reveal themselves. First, over the Turtle Island, the viewing pavilion comes into view through a filter of gently arching branches of the weeping cherry over the pond. Spent cherry blossoms float delicately on the still water of the pond, creating a serene and poetic scene. Another step, and Shinto shrine comes into view, a dramatic vermilion-colored torii. Outside Japan, Brooklyn Botanic Garden, Japanese-inspired garden, is the most visited garden in the world. It is also one of the oldest. It is no wonder that the cherry esplanade, with its perfect green lawn and perfect alleys of flowering cherries, is such a crowd pleaser. It's one of the highlights of the gardening calendar here in New York. Here at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, Hanami, the Festival of Flowers viewing, offers a night event with lanterns and picnicking under the stars. Japanese snacks and bar with Japanese beer and cocktails is an offer. The evening also features live performances, filling the air with vibrant melodies that complement the beauty of the cherry blossoms and add to the festive spirit of the occasion. I took one last look at the cherry esplanade and headed for the exit. It's the middle of the day and I have to get back to my projects. Waterfalls to adjust, pergolas to weld, and annuals to plant. On the way out, I walked along the path with flowering crab apples. It was a memorable visit. If you're a New Yorker or a visitor, I hope that one day your calendar will coincide with the Hanami Festival here in our city.